How did your crazy ex become your crazy ex? She woke me up because I had the night sweats and she was convinced I had AIDS. For some reason I decided to appease her and got a full STD screen, including an expensive AIDS test. A few weeks later I drove to her house to give her my signed note I had to specifically request, stating my clean bill of health. She accused me of forging the entire thing and in the following argument pulled her plates out of the cupboard and frisbeed them at me. I left immediately. About 6 months later, I had just started dating my now fiancé. She contacted me to tell me she believed me and wanted to know if she and her 2 dogs could move in with me. I never responded. She cut out my head from e-books and put them on corkboards on her headboard. I found out because one of her friends told me she did, and so I wanted to see for myself. She was working during the day, and I was close with her brother, who let me in when I said I needed to grab something from her BR. I walked in and, sure enough, my head on a bunch of muscular bodies that weren't mine. I broke up with her the next day after seeing the Hey Arnold-esque shrine. Following the breakup, she would drive on my street and stop and wait outside and see if my light was on. It wasn't, mainly because I knew she would do that. Then she would call me and leave voicemails of her breathing rather heavily. She then tried to get me jealous of her having another guy, which I was everything but jealous of, and she actually had sex with and got pregnant with said guy, which kind of backfired on her. So, happy ending, I guess? Painted my name all over his bedroom, bathroom and lounge room. Proposed and then photoshopped us into wedding pictures, sent invites all his family, mine and my friends, got an ultrasound photo online and tried to announce to Facebook we were expecting a baby, shaved our initials into his cat and left hundreds of love letters taped to my car, so that was crazy. We went on half a double date with friends, I was just being a good sport, noped out when he proposed when my food came. The rest came over the next week. Edit to clarify as I feel I wasn't clear, this was all after the 1 and ONLY date. This wasn't her, we dated for months and then his crazy came out, this was we met an hour ago, why are you proposing to me? He started messaging all the new guys he thought I would maybe go out with, asking them not to invite me out because he felt he still had a chance with me. This happened not once or twice, this happened with around 10 guys. He didn't even know them in person. I didn't even know them. Would start arguments out of thin air because I'm drama, this is who I am. Then one day, I went drinking in her hometown, she ran into her ex. A day later she said, sorry, but I'm going to start dating him again. 2 days after that, she was begging to get back together. Nope. Messaged me occasionally for a few years to go out for a drink, but eventually stopped when she got knocked up. Good luck to the guy who knocked her up, in addition to being an absolute gem of a personality, she had awful genetics and family. I'm drama, this is who I am. At least she is honest, most are like, I hate drama, but somehow there is always drama around their lives. She took me to a graveyard to meet her dead grandparents. Then she begins having a conversation with them and expected me to chime in. You know that shit you see in dumbass movies? Yeah, that. Then she decided she was a Wiccan. Yep. Nope. I'm out. Was supposed to be medicated and never told me, didn't matter since she stopped taking her meds before we dated. Tried to make up for it by taking many different recreational drugs that she failed to mention as well. Found her drug kit and noped out. Her mother said, and I quote, I'm surprised you made it as long as you did. First, she became my ex. But not before we booked and paid for a non-refundable trip to Thailand for 2 weeks. Fast forward 7 months, we haven't really spoken, but it's time to go to Thailand together, and we decide we're going to be adults about this and enjoy the trip to the other side of the planet together. Okay, no problem. That's an admirable decision for both parties. Once we're in Thailand together, sharing a room and a bed, she informs me she has a new boyfriend. Wow, that was fast after our many years together, but kudos. One day, while I'm in the shower, she goes through my phone and reviews all my text messages. Then she flips her shit because I've been texting other girls. That's right, the girl with the new boyfriend is foaming at the mouth, rage screaming at me for moving on with my life. That's when she became my crazy ex. To be fair, sharing a bed with an ex you've hardly talked to in months isn't a recipe for cool heads and good decision making. He told me he was in love with me 2 weeks after we met. When I wouldn't say it back, he flipped shit and skipped town for 4 days, and didn't talk to me once. After a month of dating, one morning he asked me what I was doing, and I told him I was going to spend the day at the beach with a friend. He responded with, "Talk to me when you have time for me." He told me my life choices determined if he lived or not, either I stay with him and everything is great, or I go off to college and break up with him, subsequently leading to him offing himself. I knew it was a bluff, so I got the hell out of that relationship as soon as I could and told all his friends to watch out for him, without describing why. Well, my friend introduced us because we were both taking time off uni for mental illness, so we're probably both each other's crazy ex. That said, he has a habit of dating girls he meets in the psych ward, so I doubt I'm his craziest at least. Tried to have me arrested for wrecking his truck into a 6-foot ditch. The cops saw the whole thing happen, and I had no idea what was going on. BC, as soon as we hit, I was knocked out and was unconscious in the passenger seat at the bottom of the 6-foot ditch. I came to with him being cuffed and yelling, "She did it! She did it!" While Ems was asking the officers if they could see me and if they would need equipment to get me out. All I heard was, "She did it, she did it, she did it," and I came to yelling, "No the fuck I didn't," while trying to climb out so I could whoop his ass, before I even realized what I was doing. To which the cop said to Ems, "I think she's going to be okay, but she's really pissed." That last part makes me laugh, the rest still makes me cringe. Put a huge scratch in the body of my guitar. Scratched up the lens for the disc reader of my GameCube, ruining it. Stalked me for 6 months after we broke up. Ran into her randomly at a bar with my new girlfriend. The ex started texting me, telling me she had a restraining order out on me and I had to leave the bar. Then tried telling me she had a child that was my child, somehow. Then a couple weeks later texted me more saying those other texts weren't from her, but someone had taken her phone and done it. Somehow, she found my new girlfriend's email and started giving her oddly specific information about me, including where I now worked, how much I made, where the apartment I moved to was, and talked about the dog I had recently gotten. Keep in mind I hadn't seen her in months at this point and she should not have known any of this information. Told me he loved me about 6 weeks in, used to take other people's ideas and claim he came up with them at random. Said music was his religion and there was some kind of spirit's energy affiliated with it. He creepily watched his housemate sleeping one time. Dude decided to move out. About 2 months or so after dating he broke up with me saying I was too chill. I was going to break up with him anyway. Apparently he took it worse than I did. Tell me the cops were called or something. She's clearly unhinged. Edit, I think my favorite part about getting gold for this comment is that I didn't even make that pun on purpose. The joke literally made itself. A lot of stories in this thread are about crazy female exes. Your story suggests a very good reason for it. A lot of women with crazy exes didn't survive to tell the tale. You were lucky you got out of that. Margaret Atwood said it best, men are afraid that women will laugh at them. Women are afraid that men will kill them. I feel a little sorry for the girl. She had these feelings and did not know how to properly express them, so she made a shrine that the object of her affections was never meant to see. Then he discovers her mortifying secret because the girls she trusted betrayed her and breaks up with her over it. Granted, I felt horrible for that, but she had the stalking tendencies even when we were dating and it was getting quite frustrating. Haha, one time when I was single I was walking down the street and this gorgeous girl is walking by and gives me a half smile and I pulled the "Hey, we met at a party a while back, didn't we?" line, even though I was usually not that kind of guy. We got to talking, I admitted that I made up the line to talk to her, she thought it was cute, so right then we go out for drinks. Awesome. Well, we're talking and somehow gay marriage comes up and turns out this cute small blonde in a very liberal city is a gay disliking, no dinosaurs, Jesus is Lord Christian. I ranted a bit about how gay love is the same as hetero love for a bit, in as non-condescending way as I could. Really just giving her a different perspective, but noped out after that. She had recently moved to the city and I wonder if she is still the same or if encounters like ours slowly changed her views. Oh my gosh. Had this happened to me? He broke up with me because I had cheated on him. SMH. It's not cheating when you didn't consent, hole. I'm sorry that this happened to you, and I hope you got help support that you wanted and needed. Nope the fuck out of there as fast as I could. No you didn't. You just told us about multiple relationship ending offenses that existed from the start. You nope the fuck out of there at an incredibly, foolishly slow pace. I feel like I need to defend normal human beings and say that stretch marks are definitely not a sign of having a kid, they're just a sign of weight gain at one point or another. A large quantity of women have them, especially on their breasts, just from normal healthy development. I'm a guy and I have stretch marks. Stretch marks in general are not indicative of having had a kid. I will concede, however, that I do not know if there are specific locations of stretch marks that might be a more reliable indicator. Telling someone your painful history, then have them abandon you because of it, that's rough. I'm sorry. There will eventually be someone that just accepts it as a part of who you are, and be honored that you felt you could share that with them. If you're saying that's a way to generate false positive pregnancy tests to trap a man, that's very sad. But not as sad as the people that sell real positive pregnancy tests on Craigslist. You see them a lot in areas that contain military bases. When I hear things like this, I mean parents talking smack about their kids to their friends' exes, I wonder if the parents are abusive and if it's somehow the cause for their kids being mentally unstable. I'm not saying it's always the case, but it wouldn't surprise me, either. Same here. I had a bunch of friends tell me that my ex was emotionally and mentally abusive, but I felt like since he had never really been physical with me, it wasn't all that bad. I wish myself now, who suffers from PTSD from my time with that bastard, could kick my past self but for staying with the jerk for so long. You don't ever want to believe something that bad is happening to you. I mean, it can never happen to you, right? I certainly didn't think it could ever happen to me. I was a good person. But I was also blinded. Ooh. That's at least as dangerous as physical violence. When you get punched, you instantly know that the person in front of you is going too far, but when someone is exploiting you emotionally or using psychological tricks on you, it can take up months before realizing anything, and I insist, not because you're somehow not intelligent enough to see it coming. This reminds me of a situation I had with my ex. Not sure it counts if you only communicate, see each other on weekends, and only saw each other on the proviso. I don't want anything serious, at all. Me too, so great, I thought. He asked what we're doing for V-Day. I say, oh nothing, I don't go in for all that crap. If you want to do something I'll go, but please nothing Valentine-y. He says okay, but then the day comes, and I'm down with a bad cold. He texts, so what's the plan? I'm surprised, thought he was arranging something, but say listen, I'm sick, but come over if you want, watch a movie or whatever. He comes over, and I answer the door to oh ha, you look like shit followed by, so I guess we're not going out then? WTF? Same guy was astounded when I broke up with him weeks later. He could not comprehend that I meant all those noises coming out of my mouth since day one. Strange guy. I knew that. I know that. I was young, and she seemed cool prior to that. She also got extremely religious during the course of all this and quit her well-paying job without notice. Honestly, I think her mental health was in serious decline. Course sounds like you guys had it pretty rough. Would have been a bumpy road ahead of you. Hopefully you've got smooth sailing now. I don't think she was. I could be wrong, but I never got that feeling, had that feeling before, and was being cheated on. She saw that I had made the bed quite wet with my sweat and Google night sweats, and as WEBMD often does, it gave her the worst case scenario. My hand's initial reaction was to downvote you, but then I realized how ridiculous it would be to downvote someone who likes a different food than you, so I stopped my hand just in time. I didn't upvote you though. I did a little Googling, and apparently it's not just Diet Coke, other soda can do it too. Apparently a lot of people have tested everything from Cherry Coke to Fanta. I can't find any science-why explanation for why, though, which sucks because I'm curious. Things are much better for me now. Thanks for asking. I turn 25 next month, I've nearly finished my bachelor degree, and I'm in a much healthier relationship. Like I said, I was messed up about it afterwards, and it didn't help that, for months, he would text me all the time, alternating between calling me every insult in the book and telling me he missed me, he was sorry, etc. This continued even after he got together with his new girlfriend and she had his baby. Eventually, I told him that if he kept texting me, I would tell his baby mama, but he didn't listen, and I made good on my word. He was pissed and he sure let me know it, but it seemed to do the trick until about a month ago when he texted saying sorry again, and I ignored him. So I guess I don't really know how he's doing now. But I have definitely come to understand why he is the way he is, not accept or condone it, but understand it. He had a really messed up childhood and his family was very broken. I truly do hope that he is able to give his son the childhood he never had. He is probably the only person in the world I can say I hate, but I don't have anything against his kid. glossing over the fact that they went to Thailand together 7 months after breaking up. There is no amount of money in the world worth losing that could make that seem like an intelligent, rational decision. Most airlines have policies regarding major life events, and that would almost certainly be covered, especially if they were living together. My husband had horrible night sweats and lost a ton of weight. He was not overweight to begin with. I knew that these could be symptoms of AIDS, but I also knew there was no way he had it. He ended up in the hospital for a week, and the first thing that Dr. did when he saw those symptoms was order an AIDS test. Long-winded way of saying I guess I can understand your girl's concern, but couldn't she have found a better way to talk to you about it? Dude, I know your pain. I moved to go to college with my girlfriend away from my friends and my family. I got so sick I was laying on the floor of my apartment with a 103 fever, probably the sickest I had been in till 5 years. I asked her to please go get me some aspirin as I was nearing delirium and couldn't drive, and she told me she'd had a headache and really didn't want to leave the apartment. It was at that moment that I realized what a terrible person she was. I talked her into getting me the aspirin and never spoke to her again. I asked her to please go get me some aspirin as I was nearing delirium and couldn't drive, and she told me she'd had a headache, all the more reason to get some frigging aspirin. One of my best friends has a long-running Sims house where she makes all her ex-boyfriend Sims move once they break up. When she told me that, I realized that she makes a Sim for a guy as soon as they're dating. She's been doing this for years and years and years. I'm pretty sure the ex-house is the coolest house on the block. Tap water is a no, as is Kroger brand mouthwash. Source: wife freaked out over a positive pregnancy test, thought maybe it was the mouthwash cap she was using to pee in, then blamed the cheap Amazon tests. Baby will be here in 4 months. The mouthwash cap she was using to pee in, I'm hoping this was a cap from an empty mouthwash bottle that was going in the trash. D&D idea, a campaign where a shadowy business liaison contacts the group to adventure, yada yada yada. It turns out there are multiple shell corporations that lead them up the corporate ladder until they find that the evil they've been chasing has been caused by a lick who owns the adventuring company. He's been hiring goons to cause trouble, and then waiting for townspeople to contact his adventuring company so he gets a huge reward, then uses that money to bankroll more chaos. Please consider subscribing if you enjoyed. Love.